Happy midweek, everyone, and welcome into the Traded Black podcast. We're doing this every day this week. I'm your host, sdales. Thanks for checking in as we have full-on earnings season. Some good reports yesterday and today did not disappoint either, as we have some two big-name CEOs that will be joining us as we dive into their latest earnings. First, Village Farms with Michael DeGilio, excuse me, sorry about that, along with George Archos from Verano Holdings. So let's get right into it and welcome in TDR co-host Anthony Varell. Good to see you. Happy Wednesday. And like I said off the top,
Happy Wednesday.
It's a couple good reports again here today here in fundamental aka earnings season.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, Village Farms came out strong. Verano came out strong this morning. A lot to like about those prints. Ready to dive in and get to it.
Yeah, let's do that. And let's begin with NASDAQ listed Village Farms, which many listening to the podcast here today have reached out to offer, or should say ask us to provide an update regarding this company. So let's welcome in their CEO, Michael DeGilio. Michael, good to see you. First time on the podcast. How are you, sir?
Good to see you guys.
Yeah, good seeing you a couple weeks ago down in Florida as we were talking business. We're also talking before we got filming, one of the best Italian restaurants probably in America. Your good friends at sdales. Give a shout out to them. What a place that is, huh?
They are awesome. The best.
Yeah.
It was a secret, but now it's out.
That's okay. I'm sure they don't mind. Well, first off, again, appreciate you hopping on here today. I know you've been busy taking a lot of analyst calls, and I know this is kind of last minute, but I appreciate you checking in. Very strong quarter, to say the least, as we highlight some of your numbers from your latest financials. They include net sales up 49%, which were $37.4 million, up from $25.1 from the previous quarter. Combined sales increased 21% year over year to $78.1 million, up from $64.7 million when you combine both produce, products, and cannabis. So based on a lot of the calls and conversations and the earnings reports, I know there's a lot of analysts that had questions. What's the big takeaway that you want to communicate to your investors?
Consumer insights. We know where the consumer is going, what the consumer wants, and our organization really strives and drives hard to meet that. Strain developments, full bore, technology, tissue culture, quality, not just out of the cultivation side, but through the whole process of manufacturing. Just driving for excellence. Our pillars of excellence have always been on a foundation of great cultivation at the right cost, but branding, sales team, innovation team is really rocking. And we feel really good about it because for Canada, that's really... it's been 5 years to really hone our experience level in cannabis, and we feel very comfortable that we can leverage that business model up both in Europe and in the U.S. when NASDAQ permits us to enter the market.
NASDAQ listing, that is an important one. You also outlined in your first quarter, you're off to an especially strong start in 2024 with your Canadian cannabis retail branded, where sales grew 28%. Why do you think you're off to such a great start here in 2024?
Well, we really focused. I mean, our goal is to be number one in the Canadian market. That's something, we weren't first in. We really worked hard to have a business model that we thought could be very durable and sustainable in the Canadian market. We knew how challenging it is with government regulations, taxation. So we didn't enter the market till we're sure we can win. And that was really based on low cost, high quality production, knowing that the illicit market would be strong all the way through it. So we took that and we're very myopic with our original brand that we came out with. Now we're in premium, we're in value, and we're in mid-size. And I think quality at the end of the day really rules. So I think that's what's driving our success, innovation and quality, and knowing what the consumer wants.
I know you were synonymous for Pure Sunfarms branded products for a very long time, and then rolled out the other brands such as Super Toast and Fraser Valley. I mean, was that a very methodical wait and see approach, see what's resonating with the market, and then expand the brand portfolio to tactically bring to market what the consumer is looking for in the different jurisdictions across Canada?
Absolutely. We started sort of as a brand house, and before we looked at more of a house of brands. Not that we're all over the place. We're pretty myopic in what we choose, and there has to be a reason, and we have to know it's going to be profitable going into it. Yeah. So Pure Sunfarms is really our chance to learn, about cannabis. That, we've been in cut flowers in our 40-year history, produce, and cannabis was sort of not from a cultivation perspective, but really from a consumer perspective. And the Pure Sun Farms brand afforded that. And then watch what was happening to the segmentation in the market. Value started to drive more sales, more on the west coast of Canada coming east. And that was really a catalyst to have a value to it, which was Fraser Valley. There were some pockets we still thought there would be a 5 to 10% premium, not super premium, but premium market that a number of craft growers were trying to hit, and we wanted to be there as well. And then we drove a number of brands out of our Quebec organization, Rose.
Yeah,
and that has gone from Quebec all the way through the mainland of Canada. So it was just a migration to then flip that side, and then of course, we didn't move into the international market till we felt we can have a strong chance of being number one in Canada, and that was about 1.5 years ago. And some of these brands we think can be brands that we can take across the pond into Europe as well.
Yeah.
And I'll make a bold statement that I actually believe, and if you asked me this 5 years ago, I probably would have said no way, but today I think some of these brands will have a place in the U.S. when we're allowed to operate there as well.
Speaking of the U.S., I mean, we've seen some signaling from your peers that they're starting to position and trying to, I guess, formulate a plan to come into the U.S. from a compliance perspective. On the call, I know that you said a couple of times legalization will be our entry point into the United States as far as the plan goes today. If you do see success from your peers, do you plan on turning on, let's say, some of that 6 million square feet that's in the U.S. and figuring out a way to come down here in a compliant manner?
Well, I would say, we've watched a pathway that namely two companies have gone forth. As I said on the call, one of the companies we know well, they've sort of gone the route of looking at financing a distressed asset as an entry point. The other company trying to carve a pathway to allow them to participate while remaining on the NASDAQ. That's the key. Yes. So the only reason we're not active in the U.S. and we're an American company first is because of the NASDAQ. That listing is very important for us and our shareholders. And for an example, if descheduling takes place, and I say if, because till it's official, it's not official, NASDAQ has been very clear with us that they will not allow us to touch the plant. So that's why we have to wait and see. However, if this pathway works for the other companies, and we've seen they put a lot of time and money in it, we will follow and we will get in. Now, as far as Texas goes, that to us is the big enchilada at the end of the day. We think we can outcompete most operations in the U.S. Upon full legalization. The restriction of cultivating in the state you're operating in goes away. And I think it has the large scale, low cost, best area, best growing. That's where we'll shine. But we're not going to wait for Texas necessarily. If we have a pathway, we'll pick and choose very carefully where we want to play. I think M&A will be part of that opportunity for us. So, yes, we will go.
Yeah. You think a lot of that opportunity and the expertise that you have when you talk about across the country, it relates to obviously the experience you have with the produce side of things and the product that you're shipping across the nation right now?
No, I don't. I think on the cultivation side and the DNA, that's where it shines. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, the most prudent thing in agriculture, and you could say cannabis is a CPG product. Obviously, one day brands will win. Right now, I think brands still have a long way to go. It's about on the attributes of the product that the consumer is looking for, be it a THC level, quality, whatnot, diversification in the portfolio. And eventually brands will count, but I think it's a long way away. So for us, that opportunity to be a low-cost, large-scale producer, I think, with interstate commerce, and it may not be there right away. For us, just to talk about Texas, second largest, most populated state. So when it goes, whether it follows legislation at the federal level or on their own, it's a tremendous market for us with nearly 32 million people. And we wouldn't. There's no advantage by any other company there today. So I think that's a great opportunity for us in the future. But we won't wait for Texas.
Yeah.
You had mentioned international as well. With the operation that you have in the Netherlands currently, what's the anticipation for that being fully planted and then starting to produce revenue?
Yeah, we're really excited. It's kind of funny. We talk about so far we've been a second mover on purpose. In the United States, we may be a 10th mover, but we've done that on purpose. The Netherlands, however, we're a first mover. We're one of only 10 license holders in the whole country, the only North American company to have a license.
Yeah.
Our first facility is under construction now. We plan to have our first crop planted out in the fourth quarter this year, generating revenue first quarter 25, following it up with a second location in the Netherlands, first recreational market. And, the Netherlands is sort of the mecca of cannabis, but believe it or not, both production and the coffee shops have been illegal for some 60, 70 years of legacy. Yeah. And finally, they're moving. And we think that's a stepping stone because Europe will eventually be a component of medicinal and recreational. Medicinal will probably be the lowest cost producers in whatever country can export to the EU. But for rec, for a number of reasons, including treaties, production will take place in the country that's going rec, like the Netherlands. So it'll be a great springboard for us. We're already looking at some other countries now to springboard from the Netherlands into recreational cannabis there as well.
Yeah.
And then one other thing that I thought was interesting from the earnings print was the acceleration of your wholesale business. I mean, is that indicative of the oversupply in Canada kind of finally aging itself out? And are those spot buys that were taking place, or is those supply agreements?
I think it's a number. Yeah, I mean, Anthony, it's a number of things. One, there has been an overcapacity, but a number of the largest players who have spent billions, hundreds of millions at least, if not billions, have shuttered their cultivation and have declared that they're going to a light asset model. So I think you'll eventually see a small number of actual cultivators in the market. We have those relationships. Why is B2B important for us? Even if we decide to expand our footprint, say next year for another 40, 50 tons, there's nowhere in the world that you're going to be able to move that right to a branded product the next day. You have to grow into it, and having an outlet on B2B at least is a channel, a conduit to move that product. Secondly, with the taxation issue, we pay actually, this is a number that will blow your audience away. I mean, 72 cents of every gross dollar we generate in Canada goes to the government, the federal and provincial governments in one form or another. 72 cents. We start our day with a cup of coffee and 28 cents before we get the cost of sales. It's pretty crazy. So B2B does not have that taxation, which is, we're not talking an income tax, which it really needs to get to, but it's taxation on a top line excise tax. And B2B and international does not have that tax. So actually it's margin friendly for us as opposed to branded. Branded is still higher, but it's not that far behind on the margin side. So it's a good conduit for us.
So safe to say you're not moving the wife and family to Canada anytime soon.
Nah. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'll make warm weather. What can I say? We're here in Orlando as our headquarters, so not going anywhere.
Actually, one of our viewers actually commented, Village Farms in Mexico eventually too, I believe. Do you want to elaborate or touch on that at all?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, nobody talks about it, but if you look at the power of NAFTA, or what is now the USMCA, I mean, basically, if cannabis is legalized in the U.S. and it is in Canada and Mexico legalized at some point, it does fall under, what is the previous NAFTA as an agricultural commodity. Yeah. And I can guarantee you Canada will take that to the mat in saying we should be able duty-free to export to the U.S. and Canada, just like they do produce. I mean, Mexico, today on the food side, I mean, the U.S. is a net importer of food, and the majority comes from Mexico to the United States and Canada, for that matter.
You think we see that day?
Huh?
Do you think we see that day eventually?
Well, there'll be a fight for it.
Yeah.
So it just depends what happens politically.
Yeah.
But we have no plans to cultivate in Mexico at all.
Okay. All right.
So, I mean, cannabis it'll be a little different. Maybe that's 20 years out, but one day I think that'll be a fight that will be fought. For us, we're just excited where we are today. We love the international side. The rules are much clearer. You know, we keep looking at the U.S. We get very frustrated. Is there movement? Is there not movement? Is it safe banking? Not safe banking? So we'll be patient. And we'll be measured and prudent in our approach. You know, we're all shareholders here, and we're very aligned with our shareholders to make the right decision all the time. We don't want to make the wrong decision, and you have to have that prudence and measured approach to your decision-making process. But Europe's very excited. You know, we're exporting. In fact, England, UK, we started exporting in the fourth quarter. So far, we're shipping now we shipped 4 times as much product to the UK in the first quarter than we did in the fourth quarter. Germany in the first quarter we shipped 4 times more than we shipped the last year, or close to it.
Okay.
So, or maybe I'm a little off on the numbers, but let's just say it's growing. So we're pretty excited. We're in Australia, have been there for a couple of years, and Israel as well. And we're looking for some additional EU countries opening up for medicinal later this year. So
last question I'll ask you, 5 years from now, if we look back at 2024, like there's a lot of moving parts going on right now. When we look at potential, I'm curious to get what your feedback was on the DEA and rescheduling announcement that was announced last week. But when we look back at this 2024, 5 years from now, like, do you believe this is the year where it's the turning point for the industry?
You know, my gut tells me I couldn't answer that question and without, you know, from my gut, the problem is it's so political.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about the regulatory side, but politics, who's going to be in office? What's the viewpoint? What is the temperature? What's going on in the world? If you think about our Congress today, there's so many issues going on. I don't think they're really focused on cannabis and what administration is going to be in charge. So I think it really is from a regulatory and political side. I'm often challenged with our 3-year strategic plan by our board, and I say many times, tell me what day there'll be comprehensive legalization in the United States, and we'll roll out a 3-year strategic plan in 1 week. But it's guessing it. So, but I am more optimistic than ever on a global side, and that's why we're really excited about Europe. Europe's moving forward in a very pragmatic way. The Netherlands, there is no tax. They see it as an industry that they can build on. So I think they're learning from the first mover advantage that Canada has had. I just hope it's not squandered without some changes. So you could say the same about the U.S. as well.
Yeah.
So we need some, you know, with all due respect, we really need some adults in the room to start getting it going. The criminalization in the U.S. is just pitiful. I just can't believe that we haven't pardoned folks, as I said on my call today, and hopefully things will move in the right direction. But I hope I'm here in 5 years to come back and give you that answer, Shad.
That sounds about as accurate of anything in this industry from what I've heard. But listen, I know you got a meeting coming up here at 420. Tell the team we say hi. It was good seeing you guys a couple of weeks ago. Right. Anthony, is there anything else you want to add?
I'm good. I'm good. I got all my points across.
All right.
Thanks, Anthony. Thanks, Shad.
Let's keep in touch, okay?
Hey, Michael. See you soon.
All right.
Bye.
All right, that was good as we keep the earnings season rolling along. Now time for our next company, which is no surprise or no stranger to our podcast, but first time on the podcast. Let's welcome in the CEO of Verano Holdings, George Archos. George, first time. How are you, sir?
What's up, gents? How are we doing today?
We're doing great. How are you doing? Love the setup. Love the setup.
Great. Sitting in sunny Chicago. Can't complain.
What'd you think of that draft? You got your guys, your number one pick, your new franchise quarterback. Is he going to answer all the problems with the Bears?
buddy, I don't know. And I've heard about the problems in cannabis, not the bears. Their problems never cease to exist. So what are you going to do? You know?
Yeah, I hear you there. Well, listen, as we said off the top, we're having some strong fundamentals with some of the companies that we report, including yourself. Q1 financial results that you just announced here today. This industry, as you know, it's all about fundamentals for investors. And based off that, you backed it up with revenue that exceeded expectations. It included $212 million for the quarter, where expectations were anticipated, or should say 221, sorry. And then expectations were anticipated to be just over 215. Gross profit margin increased to 51% from 48 year over year, and adjusted EBITDA reached $67 million, which represented a 30% of revenue. It indicates, needless to say, strong operational efficiency. So one thing I also wanted to add was your free cash flow. It not only grew, but grew as much as significantly for, I think it was $21 million, if I'm correct, up from $8 million the same quarter last year. So based off of that, what would you say, I guess, is the main contributor as to why you saw such a big increase towards your free cash flow?
Free cash flow. So we didn't have a big Capex number in Q1. That'll change as we go throughout the year. But, you know, we continue to get more efficient. We're doing a great job here. We have one of the best teams in the industry is what I feel. Quarter was a little bit better than we anticipated, which is fantastic. It's nice to get that jump start on the year. As we hit the spring, people are coming out of their houses in the Northeast and the Midwest. So we're excited about the rest of the year. We have a lot of good news on the federal front, which is nice to get a little bit of that tailwind. Like we've always said, it's not something that we need, but it's something that would be, you know, really nice to finally have.
Yeah.
But overall, guys, it's been great. Verano's rocking and rolling, and we're excited for the year.
Yeah, I mean,
so. another bright spot of the earnings report was the loss was cut in half year over year, Q1. Was that significant, or was that a signification of dialing in operations? Like what contributed to that?
Yeah, listen, we continue to dial in the entire business, right? Retail side, wholesale side, even on the corporate front, our financial systems, everything's getting better year over year, quarter over quarter. So it's exciting for us. We still have a lot of work to do. By no means are we perfect, and we're always on that strive to perfection. But right now, you'll see some fluctuations throughout the year because we're going to really prepare ourselves for these, what we feel is going to be the next 3 adult use markets. You know, launching out for Ohio either this summer or this fall. We think it's probably fall. I think we'll see some PA adult use news probably in the fall of this year. So maybe we get a launch next year. And obviously, the big one for us is Florida.
Yeah, of course.
We're excited about, you know, we feel very confident in the polling. Yeah, I know you're probably going to ask me next about the GOP going against, but when is somebody not against cannabis? So it's not something we're too worried about.
Correct.
We're looking forward to the ground game and getting this thing across the finish line.
Yeah.
Correct. So, I mean, one thing I guess that was a theme here was, I guess the top line was muted, but we saw margins expand. We saw free cash flow expand. I mean, do you feel like the top line is really going to start to aggressively grow once we start to see Ohio come on, PA come on, pray to God Florida comes on? I mean, I'm down in South Florida. I'm a patient. So, I mean, I want to see the system mature. Is that when we really start to see the top line growth narrative start to take shape again?
Yeah, you're talking about over 40 million residents between those 3 markets, right?
Right.
A huge tourism population in Florida. So, I mean, the revenue growth there is going to be monumental for us. You know, it's massive. So for us getting ready for it, which is one thing we're really good at, is to focus for the year, right? Like getting ahead of it, making sure that all of our people are in place. You know, there's a lot of hiring that we have to do, making sure everyone is trained, we're prepared, and we're going to hit the ground running. So it's going to be a big year of work for us, which is fun. It's what I like to do. No one wants to sit around and babysit. You want to be geared up for growth, and that's what we're anticipating this year. And then hopefully next year, off to the moon.
Yeah.
And then gearing up for growth. I mean, you're capped in Ohio with 5. I know that there was a footnote that you're exploring a 6th location, potentially getting up to 8.
Yeah, the way it reads right now, we got a 6th location.
Okay. 18 in PA and then 74 in Florida. And then we did see SG&A tick up a little bit this quarter to 41%. Should we expect to see that around there for the remainder of the year as you do gear up into these adult use conversions?
Yeah, there's some one-time hits there in Q1, but it will fluctuate throughout the year. I mean, we're going to have to bring people on as we anticipate the growth in those markets.
Yeah.
So there'll be a little bit of fluctuation, but you know, we'll see how they come online, when they come online.
Okay.
We do anticipate some growth as well. So I think Ohio adult use launch is going to make a big difference, whether that's in June or September. So
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Okay.
you got a lot of optimistic things to look forward to, like potential Ohio, Pennsylvania, as you indicated, Florida. Like, how do you feel like outside of all the chaos that's going on in Washington? Like, you've been involved in this industry, what, back 2014, if I'm correct? Is
10
that
years, man? 10 years.
10 years? So here we are, 2024. I said this to the previous CEO, but when we look back at this year, like, do you think that there's a lot of infrastructure that's built as far as like adult use being passed, a lot of the states going live? Like, will we look back at this year and think it's a monumental year for the industry?
Every year is a monumental year in the industry, but this one for us is a big one, right? Three of our biggest markets going over adult use is tremendous, right? So, you know, the DC stuff, that's something that I don't get too involved in. Members of our team do that. I'm an operations guy. I mean, I want to make sure that our business is thriving on the ground, which is the most important to me. You know, putting dollars on the bottom line and being able to redeploy is always my biggest initiative. The DC stuff, I mean, being in this for 10 years, the roller coaster ride of this is going to pass, that's going to pass, nothing passes. I'm kind of over it. That being said, you know, there was one of the analysts earlier was calling me pessimistic because we don't think the stock exchanges will follow the DEA rescheduling. It's not being pessimistic. I'm just realistic.
Right.
I was glad to see that. I was glad to see that, to be honest. I would prefer you're a realist. That paired with Ohio might come in the fall versus Ohio's coming in June. Thank you. I would rather I'd rather you be a realist than
I'm doing this for 10 years, right? I'm not
because it's one thing that's for certain is all the investors in the space will hold you to your word if and when you put it out there. And they don't forget if you're going to speculate on timelines. Yeah, so no, it was refreshing to see that in the earnings call this morning. How is Cabbage Club going? Are you seeing traction there? How is it affecting the stickiness of customers? And I mean, is it rolled out within the full footprint, or is it currently in certain markets?
It's only in 2 states, rolling out pretty well. Something that's new to the U.S., new for us. So I think as that program continues to roll out, like anything else, right? As people see the benefit, word starts spreading, program will start growing. We'll add it to different states, and it'll become a thing for us. You know, it's an opportunity for us to do something different versus just a normal loyalty program. Better rewards, better things. You know, more opportunities to give, you know, exclusive items to those members. So we're gonna make it fun. We're going to make it fun, and it's going to have to be a little different by market depending on the regulations, but it's an opportunity for us to be creative and give back to our top consumers, really.
So almost doing like exclusive drops of like, let's say certain strains or certain products within the club. Nice.
Correct.
Yeah.
Nice.
2014, 10 years. What got you excited or I guess interested to enter into this space from day one, if you had to look back at it?
So 2014, it was medical, right? So I had an uncle with MS, never had the chance to use cannabis because it wasn't legal here.
Yeah.
But one of the first things I found out when I was approached about cannabis was MS was one of the things that helped.
Yeah.
And then I went to Colorado and I talked to some of the dispensaries out there, some of the cultivation centers, did visits, and the benefits were real, right? I didn't know much about cannabis, to be perfectly blunt. And after all those visits, I saw an opportunity. You know, I had started to want to be a doctor when I was younger. Saw the path was going to take too long and I was going to be in debt, and I didn't want to do it. But this was almost an opportunity to make up for that and do something good for people. Right? And seeing those benefits of cannabis, I'm like, you know what, let's give it a shot. We applied and made it happen. And I can't tell you how many stories of patients coming up to me in the dispensary, thanking me for how many pills that they no longer have to take and how their pain has been alleviated and all these different things. And it's amazing. I mean, the plant's amazing, and it doesn't get a chance. And, you know, when we bring politicians on board and we give them visits and tours, it's really like, guys, wake up, pay attention. It's in front of you. It's happening, and you really can't ignore it anymore, right? Like all these people on opiates dying across the country. Why?
Yeah.
You know, we have a plant here that can provide serious benefit with no real like significant side effects. No one's died from cannabis ever.
Correct.
Right. So why not let this go already? Enough. And then take the tax money and do something beneficial with it. Make it a double whammy. Give them the plant that'll give them the great benefits of the medicinal properties of the plant, and then take the tax and do something to schools, do something, do something good with it.
Well, impressive, like what you've done. You built this into one of the biggest MSO companies in the entire industry. And I look back at this, like when you saw the opportunity that was at hand and your background being in operations and the skill set that you have, like what did you see, I guess, missing in the space when you first got into where you are today? Like I said, to build 74 locations in Florida, 18 in Pennsylvania, like you're in some of the most lucrative markets across the country right now, which is why a lot of people are, obviously very optimistic about your story and where this can go based on a lot of the things that you outlined that could come to fruition, like Measure 3 and adult use and Ohio going live, like a lot of these things that come into play. But what'd you see, I guess, missing in the space to, capitalize on the opportunity that was at hand?
So other than the medicinal properties of the plant in 2014 that I saw and the opportunity to be able to do that in my home state, really what I saw from the business side of it was the biggest thing missing was actual operations.
Right.
When I was touring all these facilities in Colorado and learning about the actual business, what was missing was real operational efficiencies, right? The way you look at a business and then how you build out facilities, how many footsteps it takes to complement your job and make it as efficient as possible, looking at, all of it, right? The real estate, the process, the people, the product, the consistency, all those things. That's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
So for me, when I tackled this thing back in 2014, I mean, it was pretty easy, right? Once I went and learned myself how to cultivate, how to process, how to do all those things, the rest of it was a cakewalk, right? And I was very fortunate to have some good people from my other businesses to come join the ride. And together we crushed it. And it was really not that complicated, right? At the end of the day, we grow cannabis, we process cannabis, and we sell it to good people. And if you do it well, there's benefits for everyone.
Yeah.
So when you guys finished the quarter with, I think, a little bit above 200 million in cash, you're tapped in PA, Ohio. I'm sure there might be some Capex that could be spent there in terms of cultivation, perhaps. What does the Capex plan look like for 2024? Outside of, let's say, expanding Florida?
Quarter, we paid off, we sent 51 million to Chicago Atlantic to knock down our senior secured note, which is something that we've talked about for quite some time. We have another 50 million that we can pay off there with no more prepayment penalty. Puts us in a great position. That also released almost all of our real estate. We'll have the opportunity now to go, finance that and do some more things there. Better rates, more flexibility. From a Capex perspective, we're evaluating obviously all things. Florida and PA are two big markets. We'll probably do some work there throughout the year. Again, we feel very confident in the adult use transition there, and being ready is very important. Florida being a huge market, we already started construction at the end of Q4, and that's been continuing throughout Q1, wrapping up here very soon, just tail end. So we had to shut some rooms down, and we're adding decent amount of canopy there, which we're really excited about.
Okay.
But we have two facilities there. One has major expansion capabilities, and we're looking at some different things as well. So I think by the end of Q2 here, Q3, we'll start letting people know what the real Capex spend is going to look like as we evaluate.
And then have you, being one of the top dogs in Florida, have you heard any language from a regulatory perspective about wholesale ever coming online in this market?
Not yet, no. And, I think this thing, my opinion only, I think it passes and they're going to leave it alone, right? I don't think they're going to do too much work to it. So I think it remains most likely vertically integrated. And then as they get to the legislative side, I'm sure they're going to add additional licenses. Hopefully they do it on the social equity side. Maybe they open up wholesale at that time to be able to make licenses actually beneficial to the people that win them. So we'll see. But I think that's going to take a while. I think for a couple of years there, you got to be vertically integrated. You have to have the product, you have to have the footprint, and be ready to go, which we will.
Yeah.
Well, this has been good. Appreciate the update. Obviously, I had Aaron and Darren on last week to provide some insight as well. But congrats, obviously, on the numbers. What did you say? I missed that.
I said, sorry to hear that, bud. How'd that go? Not just kidding. Over my voice.
All good. Yeah, you got a good crew over there. But I really, first time having you on, I think it's good to go over numbers, but at the same time, too, just for audience to get a chance to know who you are and what you excel at. But it was a good explanation to just breaking down and then really just keeping it simple. But it's an exciting, I think, year as far as outside of all the chaos, like I said, in Washington. There's some pretty big monumental moments that'll happen for this industry, pertaining to Florida, Ohio going live, Pennsylvania, and this next new wave down in the South with places like Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama. It's the growth and maturity of the industry, right?
Yeah, Southeast is very exciting. I mean, we didn't touch on that,
Yeah.
but big opportunity in the Southeast. Again, we're very fortunate. A company like ours, I think we have some of the best people. Two of them that you just mentioned included. And when you have great people, you have an opportunity to do great things. So the future is bright for Verano, and we're excited.
Do your job, right?
That's right. With a smile on your face. Have fun.
Exactly.
Gotta
George, appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
George.
Got it.
That was great. You can understand what his skill set is, but all based on execution and business operations. But it's what you need, right?
A lot to like in that footprint moving forward, being capped in Ohio, capped out in PA, Florida. I mean, you want to talk about growth within the next year? I mean, they've got the engine built for growth.
I know.
They just need the domino. They just need the dominoes to fall. Those dominoes fall, that top line number is going to look ridiculous.
What I like to, and the thing that you highlighted too, is a realist about rescheduling is not going to change anything when it comes to exchanges, and that's the reality, right?
No, that's good to see. And by the way, Green Thumb actually put numbers out.
What'd you see?
Early. So they didn't print at 5. They actually printed at 4. They put out 279 million, beating estimates of 269 million. They printed 90.5 million in adjusted EBITDA, beating estimates of 80.6 million. They did 144.9 million in gross profit, beating estimates of 135.7, 63.5 million in operating income, beating estimates of 48.9, a 52.5% gross margin, beating estimates of 50.4, 31.1 million of net income, beating estimates of 12.6, and the granddaddy of them all, 13 cents EPS, beating estimates of 5 cents EPS. It's Ben did his thing.
They continue to kill it. Another strong start of 2024.
Ben did his thing. I'm looking forward to going into the operational highlights. But as it looks right now, they beat all estimates, and can't say it's not industry leading. Another bang up quarter from Green Thumb. Ben, I wish we can get you on to talk about this.
No kidding.
In person. It would be awesome. The people want it. We want it. Reach out to us.
Grab that short clip, put that on Twitter, and
I have tweeted it. I've tweeted at Ben. I've DM'd Ben, TDR account, personal account, all of the accounts.
Yeah.
He doesn't make public appearances.
All right. So I think everybody will be happy to hear tomorrow's podcast. Again, special edition, 4:00 Thursday. Guess who? Zach George from SNDL will be joining us. So I'm sure everyone will be happy to hear that. Got a few comments regarding SNDL. I thought that was a great interview as well with Michael from Village Farms.
It was. Those were two strong prints. Verano and Village Farms were two strong prints today. There was a lot to like in both of those reports. Yeah.
We're going to be interviewing actually a number of CEOs, not just this week, but early part of next week as well. Again, we're doing a pre-record tomorrow, midday with John Levine from MaryMed. That's going to go actually post on Friday morning. So MaryMed investors will have that out for you. The Cannabis with Jesse Chan, and that is it next Monday, if I remember correctly?
Jesse is on Monday. Jesse's on Monday. Ziad's on Friday. And Anthony Caniglio is coming on tomorrow with us as well. Anthony Caniglio is coming on tomorrow. As well with Zach George.
All right. Smash that like button, people. We pretty much appreciate that. As usual, leave comments. Is there any companies we're missing? Is there any CEOs you want us to reach out? Please let us know now, and we'll reach out to the according people and hopefully get them on and talk more. But yeah, big, you like that? Shad all in black. Must be going to a funeral after the show. No funeral for me, buddy. It's all sunny. It's actually sunny and 80 degrees where I'm at here today. So it's a nice day to say the least.
That is
Okay. And then, like you said, Friday, Ziad, Terracin. So another busy couple of days. And yeah, we'll dive into that GTI report. And don't forget, a lot of the stuff that we're breaking down and takeaways, make sure to log on to thedalesreport.com. Our lead financial writer and head of research, Bill McNarlin, is killing it this week. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our Baked In newsletter as we are diving deep into all these earnings reports and, most importantly, what investors can anticipate moving forward here in the back end of 2024. So if you haven't done so, thank you, Arns, for bringing up that QR code. Subscribe to the Baked In newsletter. And final thing, like, leave comments. We want this to go viral. Build this community. In the meantime, Anthony, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and we'll see you back here 4 o'clock tomorrow. Thanks, everyone, for checking in. Hey, everyone. Thanks for watching our latest podcast. Lots of momentum building. You guys getting all excited? Leave comments below. Again, we want to take this viral. Smash that like button and make sure to click on that bell for all notifications as we start to bring on bigger and bigger guests. Don't forget to subscribe to our daily newsletter, the Baked In newsletter, by logging on to thedalesreport.com. And we want to take this viral, as I said, and make this community grow. So make sure to subscribe on that channel because we wouldn't be here without you. Thanks again, everyone, for watching.